And we're back outside. Basically, this is a new series. It's going to be called Fight Talk. Now, basically what it is just talking about the weekend's fights. Last weekend's fights, of course. I didn't have the time to make a video yesterday. But basically, the fights that I wanted to talk about was obviously the big unification bout, Lomachenko-Lopez. Obviously, locally, Lewis Ritson, Miguel Vasquez, and Jolos and Ryland Charlton as well. So let's get onto the Newcastle card first. Now, for me personally, any fighter that comes from around Newcastle, you're going to be supporting them. Of course you are. Now, we had Thomas Patrick Ward fighting Asomba, who in that fight, it was quite a competitive one, but I did feel as if that Asomba won that fight personally. So I think Thomas Patrick Ward was a bit lucky to be able to get a draw, in my opinion anyway. Not taking away from him as a fighter, he's a great fighter, but I just think that fight, Asomba's a beast, to be honest, and I think it's just one of them. It was just a tough fight for him, really. Obviously, we had Lawsy fight as well. I mean, that was probably one of the toughest fights I've ever had to watch in my life. Genuinely, I love Lawsy, and there's a lot of people that do that probably watch this video. And if you do see this, Lawsy mate, don't let this define your career. A lot of people are going to be saying, a lot of people are going to be talking shit on his Instagram, because there's sad people that you just want athletes to fail in life, which is it's a sad thing, to be honest. But don't let this get you down, Lawsy. I think that reset, and I think that you can he'll hopefully do something with his career. This isn't the end of his boxing career. He's 26. He's a young man, so and that Ryland Charlton, it's no shame losing to him. He's a beast. I mean, power, boxing ability, he's great. Then obviously had the Lewis Ritson, Miguel Vasquez fight, which now I'm going to get into this one. Judges in boxing. This is it's a very sad, it's a very bad thing. They ruin lives. They ruin people's careers based on these decisions. Anyone in the comment section below, right? Did you think Lewis Ritson won the fight? Tell me. I've spoke to so many people that are based around Newcastle, right? So the majority of my mates. Not a single person said that Lewis Ritson even won more than 4 rounds. I spoke to someone, he said that I gave Lewis Ritson at least 4 rounds. For me personally, I gave him 2 or 3 at most. I felt that the style was all wrong for him, let's be honest. The style was all wrong. I think that, it's a completely different style from Robbie Davis to Miguel Vasquez. But I felt like Richie really struggled, to be honest. I don't know what fight the coaches were saying. Because, to be honest, I mean, how can they have 117, 111 for Ritson? To win by 6, to win by that many rounds, that is unbelievable, to be honest. The fact that they actually think that Ritson won that fight. It was a wipeout for Miguel Vasquez. He won at least 9, 10 rounds, to be honest. And, it's nothing to diss Richie for. I mean, at the end of the day, listen, Miguel Vasquez, a lot of people don't know who he is, but Miguel Vasquez has fought people like Josh Taylor a few fights ago, and Josh Taylor is now the best in the 140 division. He fought on a Pacquiao card, he fought on a Mayweather card. He's been a former world champion. I think the style was all wrong for Ritzy. And you can just tell that, Ritson was he was barely able to catch him, he was barely able to close the ring. It just felt like, that was another tough fight to watch, to be honest. And I was so bemused that I sat on my sofa for about half an hour. I was just thinking, I was absolutely bewildered as to how Lewis Ritson managed to get that fight. I just, I do get the whole, they favour the home fighter, but come on. I mean, Miguel Vasquez didn't even win that closely. He won that by a mile. I don't know what fight they were watching. And I don't know what fight his coaches were watching, because his coaches, there was no urgency. I mean, 8th, 9th round, it was blatantly obvious that Miguel Vasquez had won at least 7 or 8 rounds at that point. And his coaches were no urgency whatsoever. And I think that as well, and I'm not trying to excuse, I'm not trying to put it all down to the fact that there's no crowds, but I think having no crowd makes a big difference. I think people like Lawsy, people like Ritzy, they need a crowd. They need a. I mean, listen, the crowd last time out, for the Robbie Davis fight. I mean, that crowd was unbelievable, and I wish I was part of it, to be honest. But that crowd is one of the best crowds I've ever seen in my life. Like, that was, it was like a star had come out. It was like one of the biggest names. Lewis Ritson had come out, and it was like the Newcastle stood still to watch that fight with Robbie Davis. And, you heard tune, just... And I think that not having that in this fight, it must have affected him. Because some fans, are stupid, let's be honest. The way that they'll just, like, trash a fighter as if, like, he's just rubbish and that, they'll talk like they have the will to get in the ring when realistically they don't. They're just, they sit behind the social media, and they just talk shit to a fighter. But, the fans would have been screaming, "You're losing the fight!" Like, urgency, mate. And I think that's what as well. I just think that played a part, in Ritzy's performance as well. It was very lackluster, and Lawsy as well, obviously getting knocked out. I think that he didn't look himself. He didn't look motivated. Not taking it away from Ryland Charlton, who is a beast, and obviously Miguel Vasquez is still a really good fighter. He's a crafty veteran. But for me personally, I didn't see how Lewis Ritson won the fight. I didn't see how he even won 4 rounds, let alone winning the entire fight. And even getting a draw. I mean, I'd love to know what fight the judges see sometimes. It really confuses me. But obviously going on to the big fight of the evening as well, in the UFC, Brian Ortega, Korean Zombie. For me personally, I had Korean Zombie winning this. I thought that Korean Zombie was going to go knock him out. I thought that Ortega's inactivity would play a bit of a factor. But, mate, Brian Ortega, I mean, 2.0, what a beast. Clean performance, 50-45. He won every single round. Listen, for me personally, I think that this version of Brian Ortega will absolutely batter Alexander Volkanovski. And I think that Volkanovski was lucky to stay champion after that fight against Holloway. I thought that Holloway beat him. To be honest. And I mean, Korean Zombie, he's still a great fighter. I think that him and Calvin Kattar should fight next, or actually no, they should put him and Zabit together. Lots of fights for Korean Zombie. You can even make the Yaya Rodriguez rematch, and obviously Ortega has to fight Volkanovski at this point. But yeah, I think that Ortega will be champion next year or the year whenever they fight. I think that Ortega will be the new 145 champ. So yeah, obviously. Going on to the big fight, Lomachenko versus Teofimo Lopez. Now, let's be fair. Wow, what a performance by Lopez. I mean, shocked the world almost. But for me personally, Lomachenko didn't wake up until the 8th round. And I think after the 8th round, you could tell there was a clear class difference. I just felt like Lomachenko... Because Lomachenko and Usyk do this thing where in the first... I don't know if it's just a Ukrainian thing or just the way that they've been brought up, but I was talking about it with a good pal. And Lomachenko and Usyk will normally take the first couple of rounds off. Just get the readings of the opponent, then start doing the work. Lomachenko, it's as if like it took him 8 rounds to really understand Lopez. And by that point, Lopez had pretty much bagged the majority of the rounds in, It was a very, very close fight, don't get me wrong. Again, the judging, my God, 119 to, what was it, 111? I mean, how can you score it like that? I'd love to know what people watch sometimes. I'd love to know, I'd love for these judges to get interviewed and say, what sort of fight they watched and how they scored the rounds and what makes them score rounds for certain fighters. Because honestly, judging in boxing sometimes, it's unbelievably bad. I mean... Obviously, Teofimo Lopez won, but it was a close fight. It was 115-113 was the perfect scorecard in my opinion. That was unbelievable. It was, but honestly I was shocked by that, to be honest. But yeah. Anyway, so can Loma, if he gets a rematch with Lopez, can Loma get the W back, or is Lopez too good for Loma? Leave it in your comment section down below. Did Lewis Ritson win the fight against Miguel Vasquez in your opinion? Can Joe Laws come back? And can Ortega beat Volkanovski for the 145 strap? Anyways, I'm going to probably be doing a video about the Habib Gaethje fight this weekend. I'm buzzing for this, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, anyways, I hope you like this this new series that I'm doing. I think that my knowledge of boxing, I'd like to say that it's not, it's decent enough to be able to make a YouTube series about it. So yeah, anyways, please like, please subscribe. I'll see you later, and I do hope to be making more videos soon. So yeah, bye.